What's up everybody, this is Thibaut from Steam Studio. In today's tutorial I'd like to talk to you about render settings. Yeah, I know, it sounds like evil, but it's not. And I want to talk to you about that because a lot of friends told me about redshift and they said that they're using the unified sampling and they show me their settings. I was like, no, don't do that. So I want to show you, in my opinion, the bad way and the good way in two situations. The first in pure lighting, and we apply the good solution also to an HDRI interior lighting. So let's do it. So what we want to achieve here is a lighting with what I call a pure light, which is only light, only area light that lighting this scene. We faked the blue of the sky and stuff like this. Another image with HDRI lighting, and the goal here is to have a noise free and a super rendering time. So that's the goal. But first I would like to show you the bad solution that people told me they used. So we are here into Cinema 4D and I have my bad render settings. So first, let's see what we have at the beginning of this render. So if I just start this, I mean in the pure light version, I'm not going to cover the HDRI bad solution. I just want to focus myself on this pure light bad way, okay? So this is the first render here that we have. We have the environment, so the volume into the scene, etc. And we need to reduce the noise here into your scene before activate the GI. So the first thing I wanted to do is to disable this redshift environment and see what I've got. So people told me, and I can assure you that for me it's not the, oh sorry, this one is not good here. It should be like this, yeah. People told me that they don't really choose to change, or sometimes they change the sampling on their light, or sometimes in the sampling override and stuff like this. But why? And why you just use these samples max? And I'm going to show you what they told me they do and why I think it's not a good solution. So here, they do something like, they told me they do something like that. I don't know why, but why not? So 16 and 512, and it said it's okay, it's perfect. I have something noise free and it seems to be good. Yeah, okay. And I have 18 seconds here. So at the first see here, it's not bad. It's not bad, it's okay. But here, that you don't know is you set to redshift absolutely nothing. You just set to redshift, try to reduce the noise, but you don't set to redshift, my light needs some samples and stuff like this. So let's continue with that. Let's add the irradiance, the brute force in the irradiance point cloud. And that's going to be really tough here because you cannot reduce the noise into the GI without the sampling of the light. And of course, with some numbers of rays here, because it has to do so. Some friends of mine said that they use, of course, this one. Said of course. So let's do it. Let's crank this up. I put this number not really randomly because I know this number is needed for this scene. So okay, we have something like this. It's not noise free for the moment. So let's try, I don't know, to multiply by 4 and see what we have here. And I think it's not going to change anything here. So let's make a render region here. Okay, let's save this one and let's reduce it to the other one. And as you can see, it doesn't change. It doesn't change a lot. So my work here with this technique, this bad technique for me, is done. Let's move on. Let's try to crank this up. let's try to reduce the noise. And it's not working. I mean, with DJI it's going to be really, really tough. So of course, a friend of mine said that they use the denoise system. And yeah, okay, let's use the denoise system. And yeah, it's denoised. Let's do a quick test here. So let's frame all. Let's calculate with the optics denoising. So of course, denoising is going to make some, blurry region and stuff like this. So for me, it's not a very perfect system. It's very useful in certain cases, but here, it's very weird. So we have 21 seconds of render. Let's save this. Let's disable this one and see what we have with some noise. Okay, and it takes exactly the same time. So we cannot denoise this image, or I don't know how. Maybe we can use these techniques also. I will explain to you what this one is and why you should use this in certain cases. Okay, we start to have less noise here in 32 seconds. It's okay. Let's reduce it. Let's reduce it. I mean, we need to get rid of the noise. So let's reduce this threshold. I will explain to you again what it is in the second part, but let's do this. Okay, 1 minute of rendering and we are noise free. So that's cool. Let's add now the volumetric because we need to compare it with the other techniques. Okay, it takes 1 minute and 25 seconds, which is a lot because I didn't tell you, but I'm in fit window. So it's not a big resolution here. So the next thing I would like to show you now is my way, and I think it's the proper way, and in the documentation it's explained like this. So let's jump now to the other solution. Okay, so to be sure about the render time, I just disabled the this viewer here because the resolution is not the same, of course, for rendering with or without. So here without the render with the snapshot viewer here, we have 2 minutes and 7 seconds with the bad solution. Let's now do the good solution, in my opinion. So here I made a good one and we have the unified sampling to 4, 16. Here it's not this one is the proper one. We don't have any sampling override. We don't have any GI. And let's render this image. So the same lighting here for the moment is the pure light. So we have, of course, the same render as before. Let's disable the environment. We don't need to have the volumetric for the moment. So first, here, let's use the sampling override. Of course, this is the simplest solution to use sampling override. The best way is to use here each individual light samples. So for the sake of this tutorial, I'm not going to bother you with me going inside each light and try to tweak it. I will just use the sampling override. So here, starting with the light and see what we have. 8 doesn't change anything. Let's multiply it by 2. Let's see here what we have. Okay, multiply by 2. And as you can see, if I just disable the override here, we have 2 seconds and 33 seconds. And here, it doesn't take much time to reduce noise, which I love with redshift. 64. Start to be cool. 128. Okay, here I know 2 things. I know that I have noise in those parts. I have maybe a little bit of noise on my wall, but I know that my wall he has a little bit of reflection. I know it from my shader. So I'm going to start tweaking the reflection here. So if I multiply by 2, let's focus ourselves here on the big problem, which is here. And multiply by 2. Multiply by 2. Start to disappear. And as you can see, we start to have, I don't know if we have, yeah, we still have a little bit of noise. So let's crank this up. And it's almost, yeah. So divide by 2 was okay. Let's see here. Pretty cool. Let's see, for example, in different area. No. Yes, completely here. Yeah. So that's okay, but we have a little bit of problem here in those parts. So let's double this and see. Yeah, it's better. It's better. Let's say it's okay for the moment. So now what I want is to render the entire image, and it takes 7 seconds, almost 8 seconds. Now I see that I have some issues. The first issues that I have is here. I see that we have some problem in the aliasing of the image, and that's where the unified sampling and the sample max came into the game. You should use the sample max for the motion blur, for the aliasing, and for the depth of field. So here, let's try to reduce this problem here. So let's double this by 2. I know that I need more, but as you can see, it starts to be pretty cool. For the moment, I will reduce it to 64. I know that is not good. I know it, but I don't want to push it too far. I want to leave it for another moment. The next thing I would like to see here is if the adaptive error thresholds can help me here with the noise. So the adaptive error threshold work like this. The lower the number is, the more concentrated redshift will be on the noisy part of their image. Sorry. And so if we reduce here this sample to something like that, is going to work on those part here. And as you can see, thing is, yeah, is reducing a little bit the noise. So let's reduce it a little bit. Think it's reducing a little bit. And now let's disable this one. Let's see how many time that take here. So remember that the other render take us 2 minutes, so we have to beat the 2 minutes here. Okay, it take 10 seconds for the moment, which is pretty cool. Next thing to do is to add the GI. So brute force, irradiance bond cloud. So I know for sure that we're gonna have a lot of noise here. So don't need to wait here. Let's multiply by 4. I know that I'm going to need a lot of samples, and it's okay. It's okay to add a lot of samples here into your scene. Okay, by 4. Okay, we're not bad here. And the other thing I would like to show you here is this. The problem of aliasing here is pretty much gone. So we can go back here and maybe double this, but I don't think it's going to change a lot of things here. I don't see a big difference. So let's reduce it. So as you can see, sometimes the unified sampling, don't push it when you do this kind of tweaks here. Don't push it too far at the beginning. Sometimes I don't touch it until the end of my optimization. So here, how many time? 23 seconds. Okay, now let's add the volumetric. Okay, it takes 38 seconds to render this image. The problem we have here is we have a lot of noise in the volumetric part. So let's here go to the volume override, and let's, I don't know how much we can put here. Let's try this. Of course, I prepared this tutorial, so I barely know the number that I need. It's okay if I just look at my notes. Oh, I put 512 the other time in my previous test, so better here. Yeah, it's very cool. Okay, so it takes 31 seconds to render this image in this resolution. So let's save this. So remember, 2 minutes, 31 seconds. If we compare here, we see that we have a little bit of noise in those parts, and I think that come from the volumetric. So let's render this one more time with a little bit of sampling on the volumetric. So what I said before was wrong. Maybe 512 was better. Okay, so 30 seconds, not that bad. So let's save this one, delete this one, and I would like to compare the two here. So if I just zoom in, we still have a little bit of noise. Still have it. Yeah, still have a little bit of noise. Let's add here some. I want to add. Let's save this scene actually because I didn't save it. Let's save and let's add a little bit of samples here into the refraction here. For information, also, I don't have any glass here. It's just pure, nothing here. Okay, so it's a little bit better in the refraction, but I need to push something higher, I think. Let's try to push the light here to see what we have. Still a little bit of noise. Let's reduce this by 3 and see if it try to get rid of the noise here. Yeah, it's better. Let's just put 2 here. So here, if I just do this and render this out. Okay, 45 seconds. I think like this is acceptable. It's okay for rendering, for animation, for anything. It's pretty okay. Maybe just push a little bit the sample max here to have a little bit less of aliasing in those parts. Okay, 48 seconds. So it's very, very cool to have this render time. So 2 minutes here, and yeah, no noise on the 2 here, and we have less than a minute, and here we have 2 minutes. So definitely not the good solution with using just unified sampling stuff that I don't really understand. And here, go for an optimization, something that work well, and definitely using the power of redshift. So now let's do another thing. Let's use the HDRI lighting, which is a different way to approach some stuff, because HDRI is a little bit different, and I see some friend of mine who doing some mistakes, and I explained to them how I did it, so that's why I'm doing also this tutorial. So let's jump into the HDRI stuff. Okay, so HDRI, let me enable it and show you what I've got here into the HDRI. So The difference between the two is the pure light here is made with one area light in the outside, which I use to do the sun. It's a very tiny, I think it's 10 centimeters, so it's a very small light, which give me a very hard shadow and stuff, and I'm using it to put some volume on it. Why I use an area light? Because I like to light stuff like the real world, like in the real world. I mean, on the real set, you don't have an infinite light. You don't have the sun. You don't have HDRI. So that's why I'm doing it like this. And in the HDRI lights, I have the same area light here at the outside, and I have two portal lights here. The two portal light, which in the pure light was two area light here with a lot of temperature here. Here the portal light use the dome light here. I made an HDRI from the outside of my apartment, and I use the portal light to tell to redshift, okay, we have an environment lighting here, so use this portal light to push more samples and more stuff into my scene, because I need those information. So you put portal light to tell to redshift how to deal with this dome light. And at the end, it gives you this image. So what I'm going to do here is to duplicate the good one and set good HDRI. And the image you have here at the beginning is this one. So with the HDRI, of course, it's taking a little bit more time, but not that much. It takes about 10 or 15 second more, but it's not that bad. The only thing I need to see here we have a little bit of noise here into the scene. And that's because with the HDRI, you need to give him more samples into the GI number of rays here into the brute force. So let's crank this up. Okay, so it takes 1 minute and 17 seconds, which is not long, but it's still a little bit longer than the pure light rig here. So that's it. If we just save this image and compare all of this. So we have here the first lighting with the bad solution that takes 2 minutes. We have the same lighting with 48 seconds, so exactly the same. And here, just for the sake of this tutorial, I really wanted to show you the portal light because, you know, the portal light give you a better render time, so it was important to show you that. So I hope you like this tutorial. If you do, please leave me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to stay tuned on future tutorial and some tools that's coming pretty soon. And leave me comments if you think this tutorial it's completely wrong, it's not working. Just leave me your comments, and if you think we can do better than this, just give us your solution, your stuff, your tricks, your tips and tricks on this. And if you have question, leave comments and I will try to answer to it, and maybe one of the comments can be a tutorial. So ask question and comment this video. That's it for me. See you next time.